Oh, wow, we're live.
Okay, we're off to the races. Hey guys, we're going live in Boleros PH. I'm Dale. As always, Sam and Gab are here with me. Hey guys, what's
Hello,
up?
what's up?
What's up? What's
Happy
up? What's up?
weekend.
Happy weekend to
Happy
everyone.
Saturday indeed. We're all still on a high from ako pala, I'm still on a high from the championship. It's everywhere. Ang dami nilang appearances sa game shows,
Uh,
sa talk shows, sa news.
News
So,
shows, sports shows.
oo, ang dami,
And
no?
by the way, like right before this podcast, may pinapanood naman ako si Carl Tamayo pala akong makakanta. Ang galing niya
Napanood ko
kumanta.
yan.
Na-shock ako, grabe. Ibang
Ano,
levels.
victory parade sa UPLB. Iba si Sir.
Na-shock
UPLB?
ako.
Panas na mga
UPLB.
walang...
I think so.
Wow!
Nag-ano
Diba?
sila, tour sila eh.
Ng mga UP campuses? Social.
May budget. Thank
May
you po sa
budget.
sponsorship.
Grabe. Sige na. Gamitin nyo na yan. Yung kaysa ibigay kay Marcos.
Diba?
Gamitin nyo yung tax
Sayang
ng
naman.
bayan.
Tapos alam mo, parang the whole week, meron silang victory dinners from all of their sponsors. So, obviously, because of that UP high, we're also still gonna talk about the UP Fighting Maroons. So, Gab,
Yes.
tell us what's in store
So,
for this episode.
So for this particular episode, we're gonna go with a segment called "The Balls of Fire." So this is a renamed roundtable bolahan from our previous episodes. So I have a few questions, all of which regarding the UP Fighting Maroons, whether it's the season that was just concluded, the next season, or some fun historical questions that we have. So let's get right to it. So the
Mga
folded
nagbabaga.
paper. I did not write the whole questions. I just have notes.
Burning questions.
Ako yan, pros naman daw tayo.
Seven. I prepared more, but let's go with 7 burning questions for the UP Fighting Maroons. So our first question is, all right. Sige. I think you're gonna have fun with this. So coming off two years of no UAAP basketball, I'm sure a lot of us were surprised with the UP Fighting Maroons. But who was the biggest surprise among all of the UP Fighting Maroons? It can be a coach, can be a player, can be the fans. So who was the biggest surprise this season?
Who wants to go first? Ako na ba?
Go. From the UP fan.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So, I will double down on my unsung hero, si James Spencer pa rin. Kasi, I'm not sure if you guys remember, pero when we were booted out of the Final Four the past season, si James Spencer din yung huling tumira ng tres na hindi pumasok. So, yun yung heartbreak play namin. And coming into this new season, no one was really looking at his name in the roster. Parang nandun siya sa mga, nandun siya under veterans or yung mga parang gano'n na, hindi siya nasa banner names. You'll hear Cancino, you'll hear Richie coming into this preview, and even yung mga nadala ni Coach Gold from the NU team, diba? Yun yung, nandun yung news, nandun yung spotlight sa kanila. So,
True.
it felt
Poy
like...
kasi ni Richie pang showbiz si Richie Kaya yun nasa kanya spotlight eh.
Fairness. Tapos, even CJ Cancino, di ba, ang laki rin ng social media clout ni Sir. So, parang lahat talaga, they were all looking at the other way, at the other guys. And here we are, James Spencer hitting the biggest shots, not just in the finals, but in the other games as well. And he has also increased his minutes. I think his playing time increased this season. So, siya pa rin yung surprising for me. And I think people will now remember his name more than the UP fans. I think the casual fans will now also be looking forward to seeing him on the court.
To your point, yung less like yung what I think UP's best lineup was when James Spencer was on the court. I think I know you this. Their best lineup was when James Spencer on the court. There was no one playing hero ball on the
Yes.
offensive end, and there was defensive stopper on one end.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up during one of our finals podcasts. He locked up Dave. He
Mm.
guarded Dave for almost the entire final, except for the overtime where Coach Gold finally said, "Okay, you go to SJ Belangel. He's killing us."
Uh,
So, except for that overtime period, he was guarding David Defonso, and David Defonso had the terrible finals. I think James Spencer was the reason for that. So, ang
He
yeah.
made it
lockdown defense.
difficult for
Yeah,
Dave.
made it
Yep.
very difficult.
Tsaka may energy, no?
Dave was turning
Uh,
it over all halos every possession. He lost the ball against James Spencer. So yeah, very impressive. I fully expect him to start actually next season
Yeah.
with Richie graduating. I'll be
Mm.
surprised if he comes off the bench actually. I I
Mm.
I, I will play CJ Cancino actually off the bench as a
off the bench.
scorer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Agree. Parang mas
put,
maraming ang
put
burst
James
of
Spencer in there.
energy for CJ to come off the bench. And imagine mo, parang hindi nga siya drop off if iaalis mo si Spencer tapos pasok ka ng Cancino, di ba? Parang exciting yan.
Sam.
Pero I think James is like the type of player that doesn't really care if he starts or he comes off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do whatever the coach wants him to do. So no, I don't mind if he comes off the bench. If the coach wants him to come off the bench, feel ko naman he's the type of person that's mature enough to be okay with that. Anyway, actually, first thing that came to mind was also James Spencer. Pero just to come up with a different answer, siguro sa akin, biggest surprise, I would say, yung medyo cheating to, ayun ko, sorry Gab. Pero it would be the point guards of UP, yung biggest surprise sa akin. Yung number one would be si JD Kagulangan. Why did Lasal let this guy go? Like, why? They could have used this guy this year
They
to
went the
maybe they would have
Evanelli.
made the finals instead of UP. May nabasa akong article na it wasn't even that eh. I think hindi talaga sino yung coach ng Lasal last time? Yung si Bird?
Si
Tama
Bird.
ba?
Yeah, si Brad Bird.
Bird. Ayun.
Si
So I
yung
think
maliit na bird.
yeah, so I
It was really small.
okay. Live tayo, wala tayong magagawa din. Wala nang post-edit, wala nang
Maliit talaga.
post-processing
It
dito.
was really a
At
small
least,
bird.
at least may shoutout
He was
siya from Boleros.
yeah, sure. Yun, he was saying na he was surprised that coach didn't really let him play. Parang preseason, he was getting some minutes, but for some reason, the coach decided during the season daw that he wouldn't play that much. So, dun siya medyo nasaktan, I think. And so, he decided to leave. So, I think, I honestly haven't seen this guy like in Lasal. Hindi ko siya nga naalala na nasa Lasal siya. Hindi ko din siya napanood nung high school. Although, superstar siya nung high school. Pero, he was the biggest surprise for me. Talagang he took over the point guard reins. The reason why I say the point guards of UP is because I fully expected, well, Abadiano is like a shooting guard, point guard, but I fully expected Abadiano and Fortea to be the ones starting or taking over the guard duties. But instead, we got Kagulangan and Alarcon. I think like first round pa lang you could kind of see like Kagulangan and Alarcon are just playing really better than the other two. Walang takot yung dalawang to eh. And I think they handled the ball better and mas maganda lang yung ikot din ng bola eh pag sila yung naglalaro. And defensively, I think mas okay din yung defense. So, parang just expectations wise, I think it was the other way around. Parang sino ba tong sina Alarcon and Kagulangan, 'di ba? Kasi ang si Fortea I think was
Forte.
like the MVP nung high school. So doon lang din ako nagulat. But good for them. They have so many point guards to choose from. So kung malamig yung isa, they bring in the other one. Kung wala, you have two more guards to come in. I'm sure they'll recruit more. So good for UP.
lahat ng headlines ngayon, no, about Kagulangan, it's about his struggles in Lasal and how he didn't see the court. Like, oh my God, I think I've read like
BS.
4 articles na
That's
pare-parehong
BS.
headlines. Sorry,
Talaga parang
Superstar
Lasal.
twisted
ng
ka.
high school. Bad trip.
So, my
Well,
answer for this was
good
the
for
same as
UP.
Sam. Si JD Kagulangan ang aking surprise of the season. Because gaya sabi ni Sam, and I've said this in previous pods, I did expect na it was gonna be a Fortea, Abadiano backcourt, you know, being coached by your former coach who
Yeah.
brought you
Yeah.
there. So I thought that, you know, they would be the backcourt along with Richie. Pero, grabe, he's a smart player. He's a really smart player. I think Dale made the June Manzo comparison, and I fully agree. He has that same composure, that leadership. The balls, you know, the
But
big
a better
balls.
scorer than Manzo, I would say.
Yeah, he's a better scorer than Manzo. He's a smarter player. Big balls, being coached by a small bird. So,
Balls
yung
of
mga
fire!
Wala.
kaya siya yung
I think
pinakawalan kasi hindi
kaya
sila tapat. He had big balls but he was being coached by a small bird.
So, hindi sila
I think
match.
kaya pinupush ni Gab na mag-live tayo eh. Para wala nang edit.
Wala tayong magawa. No?
Oo,
Ngayon
naloko
wala
yung
tayo.
surprise.
Brad Bird was not in my consciousness until you mentioned him.
So, kasalanan mo, Sam,
Kasalanan
basically.
ko pala. Kasalanan.
Yeah, but you know, JD Kagulangan, he was definitely the hero, and
Yep.
yeah, they couldn't, you know, I don't think Coach Gold had any other choice than to keep him on the floor kasi sobrang nagkakagulo ang UP offense kung wala siya ron. And he's so smart running the pick and roll. I think we saw that in the overtime game. You know, hitting Malik Juf on the roll, and then saw the drop coverage from Ange Kwame, and then just got a wide open shot. Yeah, so JD Kagulangan. Pogi pa ni Gago.
Wala nang tumatawag sa kanya ng Maymay. Parang naalis niya na yung nickname na yun. JD na siya.
Sa parang galing itong Maymay na to.
Anyway, hindi na daw pang, yung shot niya pang JD na eh. Hindi na pang Maymay.
With my next question in the Balls of Fire
Let's go. Question number 2. Here we go.
Kakatakot.
Post-its ginamit ko eh. So
nakakabahan ako eh.
Oh, okay. This is a fun historical one. So, this is UP's first championship in 36 years. Now, some of us have been following UP basketball since college. Dale, Sam, maybe a little bit more further back. Ako, further back since I was watching UAP when I was a little kid. So, who's the player from historically? And I'm not gonna allow you to say anyone from the past 2 or 3 seasons with Kobe Press and all that, and all those players. But who's a past UAP player, UP player who you would like to see play in the current UP team or in the current UAP?
Wait, so bawal sina Kobe, ganon.
Bawal, come on.
Bawal yung first few seasons, tama. Tapos
yung
UP player, diba?
Yung mga nasa value pa sila.
Yung mga
ito na yung paakyat na sila sa mountain eh.
Bawal yung mga paakyat or mga nasa taas. Okay.
Bawal sila June Manzo, you know. Wala, masyadong recent eh. So para matanggal natin yung recency bias.
Okay.
Who's a UP player that you remember who you want to see play in the current UAAP? You want me to go first? Well,
okay lang naman.
Sige.
Sige, Gab, go ahead.
I'll go first. When I thought of this question, I immediately thought about, there were 2 of them, so I'll give one the runner-up. But my first one was Migs de Asis.
Huwag mo muna ibigay yung runner-up mo. Baka yun yung choice na.
Yun. Si Migs de Asis. Anyone remember Migs de Asis? Do you remember? Anyone remember?
Shooter.
Yes.
Scorer.
Yes.
I love this guy. I watched this guy torch the Ateneo Blue Eaglets in the juniors division when he was still playing for La Salle Zobel. Yeah, La Salle Zobel. He shot three after three after three. He was sobrang dead eye shooter nitong Migs the Ass. I guess the only reason he didn't make it so much in the pros was because he's a bit slow. You know, he's purely a shooter.
Chunky siya di ba?
Yeah, he's
Medyo
a chunky
siya.
small guard, but grabe yung kamay niya. I had not seen someone shoot like that since Ren Ritualo. And I think he hit some game winners for UP. They didn't win that much with him in the lineup. But he was a guy when he went into UP and he got the ball. Natakot ka na lang because grabe yung kamay niya. And I think in the current UAP, Dale, you brought this up in one of our earlier podcasts. They're shooting, 30 plus threes a game? Teams are shooting so many threes. I think this guy would feast. He was so accurate. We see the likes of Cyrus Torres thriving in today's game because he has the license to shoot so many threes. I think Migs the Asses in this current UAP era would be a star. And I don't know. I think UP lacks consistent shooter as well. I think their most consistent shooter is Carl Tamayo from three. But yeah, he would definitely help UP with a perimeter threat to just open up the floor for more pick and roll for Malik Juf and JD Kagulangan. So Migs the Asses. Oh, I love that. I tried to watch some highlights of Migs the Asses. The only ones I could find were people on their cell phones.
Tapos ano pa?
Watching TV. TV or on their computer. Yun lang yung mga highlights niya. You guys, if anyone's watching, you guys have to search for Migs the Asses and pull out his shooting highlights because he's just a dead-eye shooter. I love this guy. I think he would thrive. Oh, next.
Pwede. Scorers nga. Medyo scorer din yung pinili ko. Sana pasok siya at old enough. Mike Silungan. Do you guys remember this?
Oh, yeah.
This guy?
Chicago Mike.
Oo. Meron din kaming Mike sa Diliman. But anyway, shooting guard, and he had a lot of hype coming into UP. Pero nagkataon talaga, the rosters that he was in, I think that he experienced 2 winless seasons, if I'm not mistaken, o baka yung isa ay isang win lang. Basta sobrang sama nung seasons na nandun siya. So I think it didn't, obviously, hindi maganda yung naging experience and hindi talaga naka-advance yung UP. Parang wala kang bright spots eh. But for me, yung shooting ni Mike Silungan will be helpful for this UP roster, and I don't even think he has to score too much. Hindi niya kailangan maging top scorer kasi may Carl Tamayo, 'di ba? And may CJ Cancino. Parang he doesn't have to have that pressure, unlike from the roster before na wala nang ibang bright spot and everything has to come from him. The offense has to start from him always. So I think pag wala yung pressure na yun, he'll thrive even more, like maybe a few minutes off the bench. I think he'll be more efficient that way. So medyo dun ko siya nakikita na magagamit ng roster na ito. And also, on a side note na off-court, hindi ko alam kung nakita nyo, but Preview and Cosmo.ph, like the lifestyle brands, have also featured several UP players this past week. So I feel like yung level of social media clout ng players ng UP ngayon, Mike Silungan will be a perfect addition to that. May looks, may very articulate, and feeling ko he'll have like a good IG page to boot. So bagay na bagay si Sir for this current squad.
Wow, may marketing factor pa talaga.
Siyempre.
I think bumalik na siya States diba? Si Mike. Parang may nabasa akong article like a year ago or something na nasa States na siya or something like that. I don't know. I have like a very weird pick. Gusto ko sana mag-isip din ng scorer, pero inisip ko someone who will join this team right now. So, marami ng guards yung team na to. Tapos, ang laki din nila eh. So, I'm thinking more of like a forward, tapos in the mold of like a James Spencer. So, ah, naalala ko si Mark Lopez.
Oh
Tama ba, Gab?
yeah,
Mark
Mark
Lopez.
Lopez came from FEU.
FEU. Ah, nung time na yon, I think nauso yung like athletic na medyo mahabang wing na
Yeah.
not really a scorer but defensive. Kasi I think noong time na yun, uso naging sikat si Calvin Abueva, ganyan. So people were looking for
Mm-hmm,
those types
mm-hmm.
of players. So Mark
Bangers.
Lopez had a lot of hype back then. He didn't really
Couldn't
score a
shoot.
lot. Oo, he couldn't
That was the
shoot. Tama.
that was the problem.
He was just this super athletic, long defensive guy na um parang Abueva talaga. Parang he could play multiple positions, guard different players, tapos hustle points lang siya. So I think he would be like a good fit with like this current team just in case kailangan nila ng someone to come in to just defend the other team's best player. So I think it would be interesting to have like a specialist like him as part of this current team. So Mark Lopez for
Mark
me.
Lopez, yeah.
Medyo
Yeah.
rich pero interesting
Yeah,
sa akin.
no, I like it.
Pwede.
My you want to know my
Yeah, yung
runner up?
runner-up.
Sige,
My
go
runner
lang.
up is Martin Reyes. You remember that guy? He was the partner in crime of Migs de
Siya yung
Aces.
kapartner ni Migs de Aces.
Yeah, he
Naging
was a
shooter
lefty.
din.
He was also a shooter. Kaya nga when they both
Lasal
went,
din ba yun?
yeah,
O...
galing Lasal. I remember that because
Okay.
yung babol ako nung high school and I watched these two guys beat the living hell out of our batchmates Sam, sina Ivan, sina JV, and all the Blue Eaglets there. These guys torched Ateneo Eaglets. Yung nga, their teams were not as strong in UP. Kulang ng firepower. But these guys could shoot the heck out of the ball. And I think si Martin Reyes would survive more. He's a taller player. He's lengthy. He's
Yes,
faster.
sobrang tangkad niya.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 6'4", and can shoot.
Mas mabilis.
Sobrang pure shooters
Yeah,
tong dalawa to. I love these. I cannot forget them because they struck so much fear in me as a fan watching them play. Whenever they would get the ball, the 3-point, don't let him shoot!
You think Martin can start though?
I think
Or of the,
yung definitely you should
Specialist.
start.
Oh.
If you have a player like Richie Rivero on the
Mm.
floor and who drives a lot, who needs space, I think you need to create space. Shout out to the Los Angeles, to the Lakers who don't understand the meaning of the pace and space game. But yeah, Mix Atis and Martin Reyes, they can just stand in the corner and wait for the ball
Yeah, true.
from Richie and, or you or JD. I think they would be perfect for today's game. These are the type of guys na played too early, played in the wrong era. All right,
yeah,
so
I would have loved to see Martin Reyes again.
diba? Loved seeing those
True,
boys.
true.
Anyway, for our next
Game.
question,
Next
our
question.
third burning question.
Ang
for
throwback nun, may I just say.
you. Diba? Can't wait for our UP draft. Watch out for that. We're gonna have a UP draft someday. Anyway, our next question.
Preview yon. Next episode will be a UP draft.
Our next question is concerns this season. What was one weakness of the UP Fighting Maroons that you think they could improve on? Also, medyo reaching in na rin to the next season, which is in September. So, what is one weakness of the UP Fighting Maroons that you think they could improve on? Hirap, no? On a UP high, isip ako ng masama
Oo
sa
nga,
UP.
parang, meron ba?
Ako, sige. I'll
Sige,
go first.
you
I'll go first.
Yeah, go, go.
I'll go first. So I mentioned this in I think our game. Well, the one where the championship, but I wasn't really able to expound on it. I think they need another big.
Agreed.
I mentioned this in the championship podcasts where I sort of discussed game two, wherein they did when Malik Juf sat out and Carl Tamayo needed a breather, they had to go to Bismarck Lina, and they were torched by Ange Kwame and who's the other big man they were at the name? I think it was Rafi Verano. Ange Kwame feasted on Zabe Lucero and Bismarck Lina. So that's one lineup wrinkle that UP has to address in the offseason. Maybe uh, get more minutes for or develop one of their bigs in the lineup. So if it has to be yung Bismarck Lina, he has to play smarter, you know. Because when one of their three big men get into foul trouble, they suddenly become small. Well, small-ish if you Cartamayo is still 6'8", and Zabe is like 6'5", 6'4". So they're still small-ish. So if they bump into Ateneo again or someone like Eman Ojula from or Ojula's not going to be there next season, or some other big from another school, they're going to have a tough time keeping up. So they may have some secret Dale, may inside ano ko ba dyan? May inside info ka ba dyan? Baka may tinatagong big man or tinatagong malaking recruit ng UP.
Siyempre, ba't natin i-reveal? Malay ko kung sino nakikinig right now sa live natin.
Ayun.
Sayang naman yung
wow.
naka-back-to-back.
So yun.
May secret.
I think they need one more big to give Juf and Tamayo and Lucero some much-needed break. So Coach Gold just basically rotates the three of them on the front court.
The three, yeah.
Sam.
Okay. Sige. I actually have two, pero I'll stick to one lang siguro. I guess for me, sloppy turnovers. They have really good defense. Minalas lang din talaga yung Ateneo that they were more sloppier than UP. Pero I remember like a couple of like games watching UP where they were really sloppy. I remember yung Lasal game where was it Lasal? Hindi. Basta yung natalo ata yung UP where they had like they couldn't bring the ball down, tapos the only person who could bring the ball down was Carl Tamayo, and sobrang pagod na si Carl Tamayo at like the close to the end of the fourth quarter. Sino ba yung tumalo sana? Adamson ba? Adamson, no?
Adamson,
I
yeah.
think it was that
Adamson.
game. Basta may isang game na I'm not sure if they won, pero I remember sunod-sunod na turnovers yon. And it also happened sa tapos si Diouf naman, it was funny kasi nung finals, I forget what game, merong turnover si Diouf na I think it happened more than once na yung pagka-rebound niya, itatapon niya ng malayo tapos masi-steal yung bola. Tapos like before that game, I was watching a replay parang UST versus UP, and the exact same play happened na pagka-rebound ni Diouf, nag-long pass siya, tas nanakaw.
Shout out to Diouf and his long passes.
Yun nga eh. So I think it's a trend na may tendency siya to make long passes that will turn into like turnover. So I think that's something that Diouf needs to fix. And then yun, like obviously that game 2 issue where first of all yung inbound, diba? Spencer inbounded to Richie, tumama sa foot ni Richie, and then Richie not knowing the score and the remaining time on the clock. I think those are like sloppy things that we need to fix lang. Syempre, I don't know.
I remember
like
that play, Sam, because the Larry share on the broadcast was like, oh my God! He couldn't hold himself back. When James Spencer threw that pass to no one, Larry share couldn't hold it. Oh my God!
Si Kuya.
He really spat on the court. I think si Boom was like,
sobrang hilig ka naman ni Larry na-share sa mga magagandang, yung mga highlight passes, di ba? So, disappointed niya siguro nung nakita niya yun.
So, I think, sloppy turnovers lang na easy to clean up or tighten for the next season. Dale?
Sa akin, I think they still need a more consistent scorer. Someone na kaya mo pa rin coming off of the bench, someone who you know, pag pinasok mo, will give you 8 points, 6 points, automatic. Parang, kasi ngayon, kunwari si Save Lucero, if he's having a bad game, like, hindi na nga dumadaan yung offense sa kanya. May bad game pa siya. So that's what, 12 points off of your score agad. Na saan mo hahanapin yun, di ba? And with Richie Gunn, he has his ups and downs, fine. But where will those points come from? And Richie
The
has
UP drivers. Ay,
shout
ay,
out.
200k na.
200K.
Sorry.
Ang laki ng
200K.
mistake niya.
200K. Yeah.
We have to give
Wow.
credit where credit is due. So,
Thank you
yeah,
to Richie.
but
Thank you.
anyway, those points will still be big, and we have to find a, a more consistent person who will give that scoring. Like, we don't know if Alarcon will be that person because we've only seen him in couple of games and then bunch of minutes.
Flashes pa lang.
Oh, yeah. Unlike, let's say, pag kunwari pinasok si Tyler Tio ng Ateneo or si Cyrus Torres ng FEU, parang yung consistency na yon from those guys, you already know that you will automatically get 6 to 8 points from them. So, feeling ko yun yung kulang pa, and maybe nandun na sa roster, they just need to develop that person. So, let's see.
I think they have a
makes
lot
sense.
of
Makes
recruits, no?
Marami ata.
They have a lot. They recruited heavily the past few years, and a lot of them are still buried on the bench. So, it's interesting where they're gonna get to fill in the roster, which actually ties into our next question. So I will cheat here and pick the next question because sakto yung end ni Dele.
Okay.
So, who do you expect to step up? So, it's hard, no? A lot of holdovers from this championship team, a lot of good players, starters. But who do you expect to step up from the UP Fighting Maroons next season?
Okay, sige. I can start. Siguro for me, like, I can go two ways. I want to say CJ Cancino because we've seen him play a better game from before. Pero I think I'm going Jerry Abadiano just because the starting point is very low. So we've seen flashes of him. He's streaky.
Grabe ka na very low.
For his standards.
Asuklap
For his
naman.
standards. Sa standards ni Jerry, kasi I really expected a lot
Okay.
from him. Ganun. So, I really don't think he played up to his standards. So, feel ko may bounce back season siya. He'll definitely get more minutes kasi he's bigger than like the other guards sina Fortea, sina Kagulangan, and Richie's gone. So, assuming na more or less this is the team that they're going to field, I think Jerry Abadiano is gonna get more minutes. And meron naman siyang mga flashes. Like, I remember may mga crucial shots siya nung humabol sila sa Lasal nung both semifinals games. So, I think it's there. I think maybe just needs more time or more minutes or just practice more consistent shooting. Pero I expect a bounce back season from Jerry Abadiano next year.
Sa akin yung pick ko, madalas nang nababanggit to ni Sam, si Bismarck Lina. So, his numbers from UST High from before, very good numbers
Good
that
pick.
he's putting up. Points and rebounds, he can do that. So, I mean, feeling ko, hindi lang talaga nabigyan ng chances for him to, parang wala pa talagang role for him maybe in this specific season. So, hopefully, yung kahit short yung off-season natin, makita ni Coach Gold how he will be able to maximize Bismarck Lina. Because sayang yung height ni Sir. Sayang yung length that he can add to our roster. Imagine that length. May Lucero, may Tamayo, may Lina. Parang walang drop-off.
Good pick.
Great picks. Good pick. Although they have, I just searched the roster. They have a 6'6" guy, Henry Galinato. Didn't see him at all.
Hindi, injured
Yeah.
siya.
Injured siya. So,
Injured ba
Yeah.
siya or
Wait, saan galing
Nag-redshirt pa
you?
siya.
From the States, I
Naglaro
think.
na
Or
Phil-Am,
hindi ba?
pero
Ah,
I
Phil.
think parang naglaro na siya eh. I'll do a quick Google. But go ahead, Gab. Pero they're
Um,
expecting a lot from him next season nga. Tama ka, Gab.
yeah. I wanted to pick him because he's tall. But I didn't see him, didn't see him play, so it's hard to pick him. But I'm gonna go with Terence Forte. I think they will need Terence Forte to step up. Not as a scoring point guard. I think as a point guard, who's a point guard, a traditional point guard. Because the drop off when uh, JD Kagulangan is not on the court is so apparent. Especially when in a clutch game. I think you could see the UP offense dives when JD Kagulangan is not on the court. It's turnovers, missed shots, missed defensive assignments. So I expect a better sophomore season for he's literally sophomore. He's a junior, I think, because he graduated 2 years ago. But his sophomore UAP season, to be much better. I think he needs more composure. He needs to learn. Coach Gold needs to tell him to just slow the game down. He doesn't have to score all the time. I think he looks to score more than to set up the offense and set up other guys. I've mentioned this instance many times during the LaSalle Final Four. I was shouting, "Why isn't JD Kagulangan on the floor?" Because they were so bad without him. So yeah, I expect more maturity for Terence Forte. He understands he doesn't need to shoot all the time. Not just because you're open, you have to shoot it. A lot of times, just if he gets a look, he's shooting it. He doesn't look for the extra pass or the better shot. I think he has to learn that there are better shots out there than him taking a pull up three or taking an off the off the screen three to get that. One and done na si Galinato. Oh, okay, that's sad.
He played pala
No,
in a game.
he'll
Pero he
naglaro ba
played in
siya?
a game. Meron ako nakakamp na box score na may 4 points siya. Doon sa isang April game.
Wala na. I think that's the rule in the UAP. You play at least one game. You're considered you played that year.
Done.
Yeah, you're done.
So, weird niya.
So
okay, anyway.
Ayun. So yeah, so that's my answer.
Champion siya.
Terence Forte. Yeah.
Okay.
Where did he come from? Did he come from another school here in the UAP?
Akala ko nga pero hindi. So tama ka, Phil-Am siya, tapos kaya siya one and done kasi graduated college na. I think he's friends with Zave Lucero. So, yun.
Kawawa naman. Didn't play a single game. Anyway, on to our fifth question for this afternoon. Oh, there's a fun one. There's another historical one. So we all know that the past few years have been the packet ng mountain, and the peak of this season is the UP Fighting Maroons. But which season or which team prior to the recent success was your favorite UP season or favorite UP team? Hard to choose. There was a lot of losing.
Yung magka-office mate tayo.
There was a lot of losing.
Hindi pwede talaga yung nananalo na kami. Ang sad naman.
Yeah, that's a easy question. We're all gonna pick either this season or the last season or the season before that when they made the finals.
That's true.
So this is a harder question.
Let me Google.
Come on. Walang kasagot? Ako nasagot.
Sige, may ready answer si Gab eh. Let's go for it.
So when I made this question, I usually answer these questions with the first thing that comes to my mind. And the first thing that came to my mind was the UP team led by Toti Almeida and Marvin Cruz. The the
Okay.
season where they almost made the final
Yeah,
four.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember the season. You know how
That is so
why
old.
Okay na
I
team
remember
yun
this.
eh. Decent team.
Yeah, I searched for it. It was season 67, 2004. And I remember this season because this was the season that UP beat Ateneo. Beat
Ateneo, yeah, yeah.
Ateneo, and which caused Ateneo to lose the twice to beat advantage. Well, eventually lose the twice to beat advantage and had to face LaSalle for the playoff for the number 2 seed. And I remember this because I watched this live at the Phil Sports Arena. So I remember this team. They finished 7-7. They started the season 0-6. I remember this. They were winless for the first round, and then they won their next 6 games, including uh, their final 6 game against Ateneo at Phil Sports Arena. And I was there, and I was trying to look for the roster, the stats. I couldn't find it until I found the video of the game on YouTube. And you know who uploaded it? Si Toti Almeida. He has a
No
YouTube page.
way.
And
No
he uploaded
way.
the game. So I watched the game. I'll
This
Wow.
is
link it
my
to you
career
guys.
game.
Yeah, guys, if you
Kaya pala na in-upload.
We'll
Yeah,
link the
upload
we'll link
because
the video on on the YouTube description
yeah, I'll link it.
after we post it.
I was surprised.
We'll link it.
I found the game and I looked at the page. It said Toti Almeida. Holy! Then I looked at the Toti Almeida page. It was all Toti Almeida highlights. So it was obviously him. So I watched the game and I don't know if you can remember the players on that team. Marvin Cruz. I assume you remember Marvin Cruz.
Wala, Marvin Cruz lang naalala ko dun.
Yep.
He
Nandun
was
na
a
ba si Woody
good-looking.
ko?
Wala pa.
Wala
He was
pa,
a
wala pa.
good-looking
Wala pa.
guy. He was a
Later on na si
good-looking guy.
Woody ko.
Do you remember Abby Santos? Their big man?
Santos. Big man, power forward.
Nestor David?
Nestor David, okay. Defensive.
Okay.
3 and
Yeah.
D, parang ganun.
Yeah, he played power forward, but he was an athletic, powerful big man.
Okay. Basta macho yun eh.
Yeah. Gino Ferrer, their point guard. No. Wala. And yeah, but that's a team led by Marvin Cruz and Toti Almeida. And Toti Almeida, man, I love that guy. And I watched that game, and it was he was the reason that I remembered this particular team and this particular game because of Toti Almeida. Because I loved Toti Almeida yung growing up. He was Manu Ginobili before Manu Ginobili became Manu Ginobili.
Wow.
Literally,
Wow.
promise, watch Toti Almeida highlights.
Talaga
I
ba?
love this. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys don't. You guys, this guy Toti Almeida. I was sad when no one really cashed in on him in the PBA because I thought this guy was so. He came from San Beda. He was a teammate of L.A. Tenorio. Came to UP, and I think was one of their. He was my favorite UP player growing up. I just loved watching him play. He was the guy na, you know, yung mga kaliwete na hindi mo alam kung saan sila pupunta sa. Alam mo yun? When you play against yung mga kaliwete, they're just
Manu nga,
unpredictable.
parang Manu.
Yeah, this was him. Toti Almeida, watch him. We gotta link him. But anyway, going back to that team, this team was my favorite because yun nga, they started 0-6, won their next 6 games, had a chance to make it to the Final Four, but lost to LaSalle, which eventually forfeited the games. So they should have made the Final Four. So yun, and they eventually won their last game against NU. They finished with a 7-7 record, 5th place. That was the last time that UP reached that 5th place in the UAAP. I invite everyone, watch that team. I love that team. They worked so hard, and Toti Almeida and Marvin Cruz. Shout out to them.
Grabe yung research. Talagang nag-rabbit hole po si Gab for
Yeah.
this specific question. So,
Well, siya nga yung pina-research natin eh. Anyway, go, Dale.
Hindi ko sure ko kasali to in terms of old. Pero, yun lang talaga yung first thing that came to mind kasi the season 77 team, the one who won that one game with the bonfire, our winning team back then, andun si JR Gallarza, Mikey Reyes.
Ah,
I think sophomore year na ni Cal
let's
Slav.
speak!
So that team talaga is special, still special for the UP community. And I guess for even for fans talaga, longtime fans of UP, because we were so surprised to see so many people show up for the team, and you don't really see that. So I think this is more of an emotional pick than a basketball
Go ahead,
pick,
yeah.
'di ba? Kasi grabe, hindi naman talaga bright spot yung roster na yun. 'Di ba, sa aming history. But that started it all. That season 77 team. So I'll never forget that team.
Sam.
Uh,
Sige, kaya
hmm.
mo yan.
Well, wala akong like memory of like a specific team or like a specific game. Pero I think yung na-enjoy ko lang, medyo homer pick siya was like the years of like Mike Gamboa at UP. He was a score first point guard. Ang galing ni Mike kasi nung high school kasi medyo
Yeah,
malaki
galing
pa
yung
siya, 'di
high
ba?
school.
Stocky point guard.
Yeah.
I guess nung college lang hindi siya masyado super nag-excel kasi medyo maliit na siya compared to like the collegiate level of the height of college players. Pero I remember those were always like exciting games, and I think like yung mga games na yun, those are the games na wala talagang mapanalunan UP, but they would always be in the fight for it, na parang hahabol sila, parang magiging tambak na sila, tapos hahabol sila, magiging 6 points na lang, tapos mamaya matatambakan na ulit sila, parang matatalo sila by like 12, ganun. And it was always like that vicious cycle. But it was always exciting. Medyo wild yung laro na ng UP noon, especially with Mike. And Mike was a streaky point guard Like,
Yeah, Mike loved
may
to
times,
run. Diba?
yes. So it was really crazy and wild. Magulo yung game, and sometimes it's exciting, sometimes parang puro turnover or wala silang ma-shoot. Pero
Yeah.
Parang
those
ano
were
ba?
like
Parang pick-up
fun
games
times
lang.
to me.
Gano'n.
Parang kang naglaro lang dyan sa
It's
village.
accurate. Oo.
So, hindi sila nananalo, but they were fun games to me. Like, they were always there. They had the chance, pero wala, talo lagi. So, yun lang.
I think,
Those are
yeah.
fun games.
Parang you can use that description for a lot of seasons of UP. Like, they were fun to watch. May okay silang quarters. But then again, pag tinignan mo yung final score, like, up 12, up 14 yung
Sad
kalaban.
no? Sad yung end result.
Dark Ages.
Anyway, go Gab. Next question.
Great answers.
Hirap naman ang tanong na yun. Bad tricks.
You wanted me to make fun questions. So my next question is, okay. This is not that hard. So we all know that UP's season ended with a buzzer-beating 3 from JD Kagulangan. Aside from that, what was your moment of the season? If you were to look back, like 5, 6, 7 years from now, aside from that JD Kagulangan shot, which I think everyone will remember, what would you look to as, I remember that season for this moment?
That's easy for me. The atinto shot of Paul Desiderio. I remember screaming.
No, I meant for this season. This season.
Akala ko historical. Sayang.
This season.
Okay. This season, parang may answer na rin naman ako immediately. So, the James Spencer 3 from Game 1. Let us relive that moment.
I don't want to relive it.
That
So I didn't choose it.
Yeah. Because I think I mentioned this before, diba? Na I felt like for us to win the series, it was important for us to get Game 1. And we did it in amazing fashion, thanks to James Spencer. And again, that even if we lost the next game, everyone was still very confident in what they're doing, in how UP was playing this whole season, the system of Coach Gold. And I think that was also the moment when nakita ng mga tao na, ay, okay, pwede palang ilabas si Richie and not play the ISO ball superstar basketball that we have come to see for the past maybe 3 seasons before this one. So that is an amazing moment for me. I mean, obviously that's a final series, but I think culmination yun nung system din ni Coach Gold na you can make the big plays, you can make the big shots kasi he trusts his guys. And it's yung trust na yun, not just for one or two players, but for 1 to 16.
Sam.
Agree. I agree. Actually, I picked that moment also, pero it's more of I think mas big sa akin yung last game of the season. That James Spencer 3 also kasi I think Ateneo was up all parang the last 2 minutes of that last game of the season. Tapos James Spencer tied the game, and then so it was two things, no? Essentially it was like the last few plays of that game, but it was that James Spencer game tying 3, and then the Richie Rivero game winning free throws, which I think that game talaga showed UP na gave UP the confidence and showed the players na we can beat Ateneo. Showed everyone that Ateneo can be beaten, and I really think that kick-started it all. If you remember, you know, UP beat Ateneo that last game of the season, but UP almost lost to LaSalle. And I
Yeah.
think because they beat Ateneo and they were able to um surmount that comeback versus the best team in the UAAP at that time, I think that gave them the confidence then to come from behind versus LaSalle in game 2. So I think that moment really changed everything for UP. Kasi honestly, if UP lost that game, let's say UP lost that game, I would sort of like say na, oh, UP and LaSalle, pantay lang sila, talent-wise, potential-wise. But when UP beat Ateneo, it really just vaulted them to like the next level na. They were definitely like ahead of
Mhm.
LaSalle na and much closer to Ateneo. So I think that was like a really game-changing moment for me when they beat Ateneo at that time. And it gave Spencer the confidence to shoot that game-winning three nung game 1, and then
True.
ever since that those free throws, parang Richie became known as like Mr. Free Throw na he never misses his free throws. Never ko naman pinansin noon, but ever since those crucial free throws, parang shit, Richie free throw na naman. Sure, pasok na naman to. Ganyan. That was a big time play by Richie.
So my answer for for this question was actually the game 2 against LaSalle in the final four. The Carl Tamayo layup against Justin Baldassar.
Mhm.
Uh, I remember it for the moment, but also for uh, the most the call by Nico Ramos. UP doesn't have a mayor. They don't have a
Ang haba ng
president. They
spiel na yun
have a
eh.
king. But what? And
The
yeah,
king.
the king
King Maroon.
maroon. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so that game, wild yun. Kasi akala ko talo na sila. Kasi so, they were down by
Naalala
what,
ko
15?
sa telegram natin, ikaw,
Stress na
sabi mo,
stress na
wala
ako
na,
na.
Well, they were choking. They were down 15 with 5
Yep.
minutes to go. And then
Intense.
LaSalle choked also. Wow. And that capped it off. I think that was a big balls play. Big balls just took it to Justin Balazar, his Gilas teammate,
Yeah.
the veteran, the rookie taking it to the veteran. That's amazing. I think that sets up years to come for Carl Tamayo. And he hit big shots all throughout the finals. Maybe struggled a bit in some spots, but yeah, you could see the confidence of Carl Tamayo and his iconic
Yung
face,
meat one.
his crying face at the end of Game 3 became a
Yep.
meme. Like,
Grabe.
it became a meme, an instant meme. The King Maroon.
Crying Jordan.
Diba?
Pero good point. Good choice, Gab. Good point. I think big factor din yung uh, commentators like in helping you remember
Yeah,
that moment. That was
yeah.
a memorable moment because of that line
Yeah.
by
Galing
Nico
lang,
Ramos.
shout out to Nico Ramos. He called, I love
I
it.
think he is. I think we can say he was probably the best commentator for this season. I don't know. Can we say
Yeah,
that?
it's usually Boom. Diba? In the finals, it's usually Boom who calls the games. And shout out, back in 2004 when I watched this UP Ateneo game, it was Boom. Boom was the, so he's been calling UAP games for the past 19 years, 18, 19
Grabe,
years.
tagal.
Wow, Boom Gonzalez.
I think
Used to
Boom
hate the
called game
guy.
2 eh. And then,
Yeah,
si Nico na yung game 1 and 3.
yeah.
Tama ba?
Nico Ramos, I love listening to him. His references are up to
Yeah.
date.
Spot
Ah,
on.
ah, ah, ah.
Diba?
May pop
You,
culture eh.
his pop
May
culture references
pagka-Gen Z to si Nico Ramos.
are up to date.
Yeah.
He had the baby boy call. Baby boy.
Dami nga memorable.
Ang dami.
Bigyan ng
shout out
award
to-
yan. Baller award. Baller award.
Yeah, Nico Ramos, man.
Next question, Gab.
Last question is our seventh.
Oh, last question. Okay.
Nice.
Our seventh question. So I have a few more, but yeah, we're almost on our end. So our last question of this afternoon. Oh, this is another historical one. So
Patay.
Time to Google.
aside from the current players and the recent players, who was your favorite player to watch in UP? Who's your favorite Maroon?
So, anyone except the players that played sa championship team.
Yeah, and sige, you could, if you want to go with Paul Desiderio, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you if you really love yung Paul Desiderio.
Ay, akala ko sasagot na si Sam.
Oh, sige.
Go, Sam, go.
Well, medyo sinagot ko na siya kanina with like the Mike Gamboa choice. So that was fun and exciting for me. Other than Mike, medyo cheating. I'd have to pick a recent one, pero has to be one GDL for me. Grabe din yung moves nitong guy na to and uber athletic. Yung mga step back niya. He can really score in any way. He can take the three, he can drive. Lumilipad din siya. I think, credit to Paul Desiderio for starting the UP road to relevance. Pero I think it was really one GDL that sort of like brought everything together. All the GDL brothers, nahatak nila sina Kobe, sina Richie. So, I feel bad na hindi nag-champion si 1GDL, pero he was really exciting for me. Tapos may mala James Harden siya, yung tipong triple-double, scores, assists, rebounds. Yung galaw din niya kakaiba eh. Sobrang
his last season though was so because I don't understand how Coach Bo could put him on the bench in favor of he had Richie and Kobe.
Richie
come
and
on.
Kobe.
Sayang si 1GDL,
I think that's one of the reasons why hindi na niya tinapos yung niya, 'di ba? Playing years. I don't know, feel ko.
I feel rin. I mean, it was rumored that the GDL brothers didn't like Coach Bo. Because the ball was just going to Kobe.
Yeah.
Diba?
Sayang talaga. I really like the GDL brothers.
Yeah.
Also shout out to Juan for having the funniest free throw routines where he would ask high fives from the opposing players.
Other players. Oo nga pala, nalimutan ko yun.
Grabe to.
Sobrang entertaining niya eh. Sobrang
masaya niya panoorin.
He's just a fun guy. And 30 would give him high five. Every time.
All the time.
Friend.
Nagkakagaguhan yung dalawa eh.
Nagkakagaguhan na sila. Gusto mo, ayan.
And super unselfish niya. That's what I like about him.
He's
such an unselfish player. So, okay din siya. Sayang.
And well loved talaga din ng UP community. Both brothers, iba. I was there when he hit the buzzer beating three against LaSalle. Oh my God, ang crazy ng
And I
game na.
think also for the GDL brothers, why they're so loved. Because they came up from the UP system. But
Yes,
they were
homegrown.
UPIS players. So
Yep.
you can see the whole community. It's the same feeling when kayong mga tenista, we're more attached to those homegrown players. You know, like the teams now, a lot of them came up from grade school through high school and now through college. So I think same thing with the GDL brothers.
Though I
Galing UP
think in
so
GDL Brothers, Ateneo Elementary.
grade school, yeah. But they went to UP and played for the UP IS.
Yes.
Kiefer Naveno was from LaSalle. So
Yeah,
in grade school, then just yung transfer to Ateneo. So yeah, there's some attachment there. Definitely.
I think they didn't
the
make
GDL
the
brothers.
team, kaya they moved to UP.
Yeah. Dale, who do you have? Who's your favorite UP player to watch?
Sure. So sa akin nasa top 3 ko rin sana si Juan GDL. So aside from him, I've always loved watching Jet Manuel nung time niya. I think he's a really really smart player.
Engineer pa, smart talaga.
Yes, that too. Smart talaga si Sir.
The Chris Chu of UP.
Oy, pwede. Di ko alam kung ikaw lang gumawa nun, Sam, or nabasa natin, i-shoutout natin yung nagbigay ng name na yan. But during his time, he really calmed everyone down. Di ba sabi nga ni Sam kanina, a lot of our plays and a lot of our rosters from before, yung backcourt namin, medyo magugulo. Wala masyadong sets and sometimes nag-hero ball pa. Especially nung time din ni Mikey Reyes, yung mga medyo bokawan seasons. But I think Jet Manuel set the table for his teammates. Hindi lang laging nakaka-convert, but he was able to finish his playing years on a high note pa rin individually. Like, I think when I was preparing for our supposed draft episode, kita ko yung stat line niya, like 15 points, 4 rebounds, yung averages niya for his career. So, he was I enjoyed watching him even if it was a losing season, losing effort, and sayang lang, hindi siya nagkaroon ng chance to have like a more reliable big man nung time niya, but siya. And then, parang quick lang, may mga naaalala lang ako na games din ni Woody ko, if naalala niyo siya.
Yeah, I remember Woody ko.
Yes.
Stretch big.
Yes.
Puro
Hindi ko nga alam
savior
kung ano
boss,
ba siya. Forward ba siya? Center? Parang, well, masyado siya maliit for a center. Pero yung size niya parang in the middle kasi. So, feeling ko kaya nung time na yon. LaSalle fan pa ako, I think, nung mga panahon niya. So, mas nanonood ako, mas nagpo-follow ako ng LaSalle games. But, Woody ko had some parang great games during his time. Again, hindi lang nag-materialize into like a thriving PBA career. But, naalala ko silang tatlo.
Sakto yung segue na naman ni Dale to my answer. So,
wow, para tayong nag-prepare.
Speaking of thriving PBA career, my answer for this was actually Raul Soyud. You guys remember
Soyud?
Si Soyud.
Yeah, I loved Raul Soyud. I think he was underused by Ricky Dandan, honestly.
Yes.
He was so good. Ang galing ni Raul Soyud. And I have to be honest, I have an attachment for chunky guys because I'm a chunky guy. So I love these chunky guys who played in the UAP. So yeah, Raul Soyud, I loved watching. He's sneaky athletic. You know, if you watch him, he can jump and he's quick and he had a jump shot. And he's fast.
Husky siya,
but
yung
he was
quick. Siya for his size.
Yeah, he I don't know. I think he played with Silang Migs the Ashes. I forgot because I can't find the roster. But I do remember Raul Soyud, and I do remember I loved watching him play because he was such a smart player. Underrated, very underrated. I think he played only 2 or a year in UP. He came from another college, a la Jervy Cruz. Same body type as Jervy Cruz. But anyway, I think a testament to how good he was is he's still playing today in the PBA. He has a thriving PBA career.
Career, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Coach Yeng Yao loves him
And
in Lex. Diba? He's in a league where it's hard to crack a roster. He has found himself a roster spot in Yang Yao's uh, NLEX teams, and he continues to thrive. He can stretch the floor. I think that's a very underrated skill that was not appreciated back then. A big guy who can shoot mid range, and now in the PBA can shoot from distance. But yeah, Raul Soyed is my answer. Shout out to Raul Soyed. Oh, that's a reach. Diba? Ngayon lang naalala si Raul Soyed.
Hindi.
Yes.
Actually,
True, true, true.
I was also scouting for my draft. He was
So,
one
nandun
of my
siya.
sneaky top picks. Pero, since
You're not gonna
nabanggit
give
mo
over
siya,
me.
kailangan ko siya i-bump. Kailangan ko siya i-angat. Shit. Kailangan ko siya i-angat.
Okay, so
Ayaw,
unahan
Nananakaw
tayo,
ko
ha?
siya eh.
I love this guy,
Kailangan ko
Raul
nanakaw
Soyud,
ko
man.
eh. I love
Kasama
him.
siya sa
I watch
20.
him sa NLEX.
Diba?
Okay.
Diba?
Damn it.
He spared,
I hate
Nag-ano
diba?
pa siya, di ba? Nasali siya sa Gilas pool, di ba? I don't think he made
I think-
the cut. But,
He didn't make the cut, but I think
Yeah.
I get it why
parang
he's-
3 on 3. 3 on 3 ba? Or Gilas ba? I can't remember. Pero I think Gab,
Yeah.
tama ka, parang transferee lang kasi siya. So I think he just played like last 2 years ng UP. I think medyo mas recent pa siya eh. Like I wanna say mga Jet Manuel era eh.
Yeah,
yung
mga
time
ganun.
ni
Mga
Soyud.
ganun.
Kasi matanda na siya when he played eh. Like talagang sagad na siya. Kumbaga sagad
Yeah,
na.
sagad
Parang
na siya.
7th year na siya. 7th year na siya naglaro. Ganun.
But diba?
But yeah,
now
solid player.
solid player. I loved watching Raul Soyud. Iba, sobrang underutilized. Sobrang underutilized talaga si Raul Soyud. I think they could have run more plays and win more games, I think, if they gave the ball more to Raul Soyud. Because he was just so good. Ang galing niya talaga. Underrated. So, shout out to my big boys.
Parang kasabay, nakakalaban niya ata si Greg Slaughter. I don't know. I remember
Yeah,
medyo malaki yung
Yeah,
center ng Ateneo eh.
I vaguely remember, and Greg would have a hard time against him because he would stretch him
Yeah.
out. He would hit those long twos,
Correct.
even threes. Yeah, Raul Soyud, man.
Solid player.
Ah.
Great way to end the question and the podcast.
oo nga, oo.
So to everyone watching, this is a preview of our next episode where mag-draft kami mga best UP players throughout the years. I think last ano sinet natin, Gab? The last
72 to 84.
seasons?
72. Because wala na ako mahanap.
Okay.
Rosters
Oo,
before that.
72 to 84.
We talked about some of the players today, pero if interested kayo, check out that next podcast where we'll draft the best players from the UP basketball teams from season 72 to 84. Dale, you wanna close this podcast?
Sure. Nag-notes ba kayo? Feeling ko, alam ko na yung iba yung picks. So, this will help me
Oo nga, bad trip.
in my roster. Thanks for that,
Kailangan ko i-bump
Gab.
si Soyud.
You're not kidding, Raul Soyud over me.
Kasi
Tingnan lang
magkakaubusan
natin.
po tayo ng mga centers. Yung front court natin medyo manipes.
Bad
But
trip.
exciting
Bad trip.
times. We'll have more time to prepare for that. So again, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. And if you like this video and even the other episodes, make sure to leave us a like button. Yeah, tama. And then hit the notification bell. Even if the season is over, we're still gonna churn out content, UAAP content for you guys. And it will be exciting for everyone. Leave us comments if you have suggestions also sa topics. That's it for your Boleros this week. Bye!
See you.